Sure Athlete is a unique platform that utilizes data to insights to actions to help make a difference and add value for both individuals and organizations as a whole.
Welcome to the Halftime Snacks. My name is Ronena Imbinde. This show explores the intersection between sports, business, and technology. Are you ready? Let's go! Today's guest of the show is an absolute legend. This man has over 20 years of experience working in different teams and sectors in the sports industry, including the Miami Marlins, Miami FC, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's a marketing expert, and today he's the CEO of Sure Athlete, a company that uses science, data, and technology to take athletes and coaches to a whole new level. It is my honor to host such a talented individual for a halftime snack. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Flynn.
Hello there. Thanks for the energetic and exciting introduction. I've got to hire you out for personal parties. You can introduce people to come into the room.
I give whole credit to Pat McAfee. And, I'd love to start off by learning about your story and your background. How did you first got involved into the sports business? And so far, what has been the best side and the worst side of the industry in your opinion?
My origin story in sports goes back to my undergraduate days when I have an undergraduate degree in accounting, which I entered into the working field as an accountant directly after I finished my studies. And I realized quickly that that wasn't the path I wanted to be on. So I didn't want to be an accountant. So having an accounting degree, I had to figure, okay, it's time to make a dramatic switch here. So after working as an accountant for 3 or 4 years and trying to figure out what my next step was, I realized I needed to do something that I had a passion for, to create an opportunity to, live a life of doing something that I loved. And that was sports and entertainment, really, which is the industry that I like to call sport. This is what I do is sports and entertainment. So decided to go back to graduate school, focus on sports administration, get a master's degree in sports administration, and then kind of carried on my path. So, that first stop out of graduate school with a soccer league that's still in existence called the USL. This was in the mid 90s when I joined in 96, 95, 96. So many years ago. But my first stop out of graduate school, my transition into this industry was with the USL as the director of marketing and sales for the league office.
That's fascinating. And so what do you think so far is the best side of sports industry and what's the worst side?
Well, the best side of it is just the juice that you get from being involved in what we do, right? And that's being involved with live events, which hopefully return at some point. I guess they are in limited capacity as we deal with COVID, but just being involved in the energy and the excitement of sports in general, right? That's what I have a passion for as an athlete and a sports fan, as long as I can remember. So being involved in that and doing that, every day is the best part of it. Being involved in something that I love. The worst part of it, I don't know if there's anything that's unique to the worst part of it, but it's the the daily trials and tribulations that you go through when you're dealing with something as volatile as a lot of the variables that we deal with, especially on the business side, are not direct results of what we can handle and what we can affect. So when you're dealing with wins and losses, you can't control that. You can't control what's on the field, what's on the pitch, what's on the ice or the court. From a business standpoint, you can only control the things that you have direct responsibility over. So you've got to learn to live with the ups and downs, right?
Yeah, I love what you say about finding something that aligns with your passion. I think that's when you feel that you're not working. You're just, having fun with the things that you love. I feel like that's where the energy comes from as well. So That's fantastic. And I want to ask you as well, because I'm really curious about Sure Athlete. I mean, what's the purpose of the company? What pain point it is that you're addressing? What are you trying to solve?
Yeah, I mean, the Sure Athlete is in short summary, is a psychometric and behavioral data analytics platform for teams and athletes, right? It basically, it allows organizations and athletes to develop themselves based on science, psychometric and behavioral analytics, and it allows organizations to build culture, right? There are a number of different assessments out in the world in various stages and different aspects of what they do. But Sure Athlete is a unique platform that utilizes data to insights to actions to help make a difference and add value for both individuals and organizations as a whole. When you look at what's happening in the industry, teams are spending an unbelievable amount of resources on data analytics for their athletes, right? The majority of that is physiological, is wearables and tracking devices and heart monitors and all of these things, right? That measure biometrics and things like this. There's not a lot of being done in the data space on what's happening in someone's head, right? Specifically in the kind of psychometric and behavioral area. So we're presenting a unique opportunity for teams to get a real robust understanding of individuals that they're looking to bring into the organization or their current individuals, both players and coaches, and helping put systems in place to develop them and help them to succeed quicker, and reducing the kind of trial and error that they may have to do without having the data and the science in front of them. And again, both as an individual level and as an organizational kind of cultural level.
Yeah, I think it's my belief that the brain is one of the most understudied elements of the body. There's so much about the brain that we really don't know about, and I feel like bringing data into it is kind of a step forward of understanding our cognitive process of making decisions. And I'm pretty sure you have so much more to say about that from what I can say. But I'm really curious, given the emergence of such intersection between sports and science, in the case of Sure Athlete, what would you say are the top 5 to 7 events coming up on the company roadmap in the next few years that are super, super critical?
Yeah, so we've got a plan built in place. Everybody's got a plan, right? Until something happens, but we've got a plan, and we're in our inaugural year. We launched this company in January of 2020, so we're 8 months into this thing now. Obviously, the pandemic hit, so we've had to deal with that. But our step by step, we're taking a very slow, methodical approach as we introduce this to the marketplace. So when you look at what we're doing in year one, basically we're calling this our innovation year. So we're looking for one partner in each major league, and our focus right now is United States for the most part, or Canada if there's leagues that kind of overlap. So we're looking for one innovation partner. We're signing those up in each league. So one NFL team, one NBA team, et cetera, right? And intercollegiate athletics, one team or athletic department in each conference. So, for example, the University of Miami is a client of our innovation partner of ours. So they're the exclusive innovation partner for the ACC conference. And then we're also looking at some other organizations outside of the major leagues or major conferences in college. Like we're having conversations with the likes of the UFC, WWE, NASCAR teams, things like this. So the first phase and the first kind of our first step here is to find that this collection of, let's say, 6 or 7 innovation partners. We'll run them through kind of the first year because the platform is built and the platform is ready to go to market. When we look at for year 2, which we call our MVP year, that's when we'll again take another slow, methodical approach to that, where we'll add no more than 2 teams in each league or conference. So we'll live within our bandwidth and call these MVP partners. So we'll have no more than 3 teams in these specific leagues. Once we go into year 3, that's when we'll start to commercialize and just open this up, to the addressable market. So in year 3, that's when we start to kind of scale this thing, right? Ultimately, when we kind of look really long range, then we'll start to look outside of North American sports and into a global approach to this. And that may be in year 4, year 5, because this platform is adaptable to any collection of athletes and coaches, wherever that may be, whether it's professional sports, Olympic sports, amateur sports, motorsports, intercollegiate athletics, you name it. Sure Athlete can potentially help these organizations, and whether that's a cricket team in India, a football team in Mexico, a rugby team in New Zealand, Formula One team in Europe, you name it, they're potential clients of ours. So, as we kind of grow this from a business standpoint, that's the approach we're taking. On the product side, we'll kind of have a parallel path, right? So now we have our foundation, but we'll start to innovate, as we kind of step into year 2, as we kind of go down the road. And our innovation team is already, working towards those new offerings today that we'll have, ready in, 12 months, 18 months, et cetera.
Well, I find that very intriguing, and I think the way you structure it makes total sense in my mind. Starting, even with one athlete and prove that it works, and then go to the team, and then partner up with the team. I mean, the way you have it set it up is, I feel like, a very structured way, and it makes complete sense. And I'm curious also to ask you, given how things are changing so fast in the world right now, consumers are suddenly looking for different things, and I'm really intrigued to ask you, what is one belief held by your prototypical consumer or customer that you would like to change, and why would you like to change it?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of instances, this is a new approach for some folks, right? So, our goal is to change the mindset that this is a development tool that will help, across the organization, like individuals as well as the entire team, right? So, I think people, some folks who are not familiar with these type of assessments or have had experience in the past, and it may not have been a great experience, need to understand that, we're taking data, we're providing insights on that data, and we're providing actionable steps to take after you have that data and insights, and really putting a plan in place to help you with development of individuals and development of the organization. So, when we're introducing this to potential clients that may come at this, with a maybe a tainted point of view from some experience in the past that they've had, and we've got to walk them through and explain why this thing is really an opportunity for them to, build a high-performing team culture and have success.
Yeah, that's awesome, Sean. I think the key thing when you have such an innovative idea is that proving that works, proving that the science makes sense and that the technology works and that you can actually help them to get better. Isn't it that one of the challenges, or which one would you say it's?
Yeah, I think that, we've got to prove that it works, right? We know our platform is built on an assessment it's an algorithm that was in development for 30 plus years. That algorithm, that assessment, is now called PRISM, and that's the secret kind of sauce to this, the foundation. The platform has been in practice with our sister company called Sure People for the last 5 years. They've had phenomenal success in kind of the business space, the commercial space, with clients such as Boston Children's Hospital, iRobot, Johns Hopkins Medicine, Comcast, really quality partners that have fallen in love with what they do. And they've renewed it 100%. They haven't lost a client in the first 5 years of their existence, which is just phenomenal. So we know that this thing works and provides value, and clients, adopt it and really embrace it and and use it to its fullest. What we need to do is now show people that we can do that in sports. It's essentially the same principles and the same science behind it. We've kind of reposition how it looks from the front end, right? We speak in different, there's different vernacular, the sports vernacular, there's a different tone and a different feel to it. But we know the core of it works. So, our challenge today as we sit here is to find innovation partners, implement it, and prove it does what we say it can do. And we know it will. And, we're going to we will come out of this first year cycle, having proven that, and then, the market will, really sit up and say, wow, these guys, they've proven, and validated, that this platform is truly something that can come into an organization and help.
That's awesome, Sean. I'm sure it's going to be big, in a few years. It's going to be everywhere, and I'm looking forward to it. And, my last question is more personal, Sean, and is I'd like to ask you what advice would you give to a young graduate that, is passionate about sports as well, and it's passionate about maybe technology and wants to work in the industry? What advice would you give to a young graduate? Or put it in another way, what would you do if you were starting from scratch, from zero?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. And I answer that the same way I give advice. I'm an adjunct professor at St. Thomas University in Miami here, and I teach one class in the fall, sports marketing at the graduate level, their sports administration program. So I think you've used the key word already, is passion. You need to have a passion for this industry. Because I don't consider a job or a career, it's a lifestyle. It's pretty all consuming, right? It's interwoven with your life. So, if you don't have a passion for that, it's just not going to work out, because it's just, you will be miserable. So you need to start with that. And once you identify that, then you've got to be, fairly aggressive in going out and making a name for yourself in the industry through whatever ways you can, whether that's just starting out as an intern or an entry-level position. But you've got to build your network, and it's really more important. It's more important who knows you than who you know, right? So you've got to, in every touch point and interaction along the way, whether that's in an interview process that you don't get, or you get it and you're an intern or an entry-level position, or you're working on projects, you've got to leave a favorable impression and add value in everything that you do. So if you have passion, you add value, and you start to build a network of people who know you, then you're integrating yourself in. And then as you're doing that and starting out and starting to build a skill set that brings value to organizations, then you're on your right path. But again, number one is to have passion, then start to build your network and add value in every interaction along the way. Then you should be on the right path.
I think that's a great place to wrap today's conversation. I'm so grateful for having the chance to speak to such an icon of the industry. I'd like to thank you for your time, for your insights, and for your kindness. I hope we get the chance to interact in person sometime soon, Sean. But for now, thank you for coming to the Halftime Snacks.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time. And yeah, hopefully we, whether it's in Mexico or here in South Florida, would love to meet up in person.
Before you leave, I want to thank you for listening. To hear these or any other Halftime Snack, check out the full archive on my website, which you can find on the show notes. See you next week!